Hello.
Hi, Harold.
Hi, Ernie.
So we're on Chavtes, Amud Aleph, Yevamos 29. The Mishnah said that if two sisters fall to one brother, and one of them is related to that brother through Isser Mitzvah or Isser Kedusha, which is a rabbinic prohibition, the Mishnah says, below Misyabdas, that you can't do Yibum. But Rab Shimon Reb Shimon was the one who said that if two sisters fall, you don't have to do anything. So the Gemara says it's Gzeira Mishum Isser Mitzvah Da'alma. By a regular Isser Mitzvah, there is Chlitza. So if we let these two sisters get away without Chlitza or Yibum, people will think that when a regular Isser Mitzvah falls, it also will be like an erva and not require Chlitza, but it does require Chlitza. Fine. Hatinich Ihi. That's fine in the Gezerah for the woman herself who's the Yisra Mitzvah. But why shouldn't you be able, why shouldn't the other woman, why is there Gezerah for both women? Gezerah Achoyso Mishum Losadida. Yeah, they make the Gezerah is extended even to the sister. We don't make such a Gezerah. Remember, let's say two sisters fall. One of them is Nerva. The other one's allowed to have Yibum. How come we don't do a Gzeira by erva? Shiny erva de migma gmirile in shivakala islam. Everyone knows the dinim by an erva midoraisa, by the dinim of these prohibited relations. Midrabanan, not everybody knows. That's why you need to do a Gzeira. Mishnah. Shloisha achin, Reuven, Shimon, Levi. Shnayim nesuin shtei achayos. Reuven and Shimon married two sisters. Echad Mufna. The Levi is not married. Meis Echad Mibale Achayos. Reuven dies. The Osaba Mufner Mimer. Levi, the single guy, does Mimer to that first woman who falls. There's no problem because the women didn't fall together. Then he wouldn't be able to do anything to either of them. But they didn't fall. They fell sequentially. Then Shimon dies. Now we have an issue. He gave Mimer to the sister. Beishamai Oimrim, Ishto Imo. He gets to keep the wife that he gave Mimer to. The other wife, the other sister who now fell, there's no Yibam, there's no Chlitza because it's an erva to him. Because he's married to her sister. He gave Mimer to the sister. It's considered like marriage. Beis Hillel Omrim, no. Motzis Ishto beget uva Chlitza. We don't allow him to carry on the Yibum. He gets rid of the Mimer with a divorce. That doesn't break the Zika. He has to give her Chlitza. Ve'isha Zachiv b'Chlitza. Since that Chlitza was a weak Chlitza, because he couldn't do Yibum. We learned that yesterday. So he has to give the sister Chlitza.
When he had the Mimer, did he live with her yet?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. It was not koinus.
Okay. Because then
and then it would be his wife.
Right.
Zuisha amru oilo al ishto ve'oilo al eishes achiv. This is an example where his wife is he got to get rid of his wife. He's got to get rid of the sister. What is the zuhi lemeute? What's the zuhi coming to exclude? Lemeute hachta Rabbi Yoshua, to exclude from Rabbi Yoshua in Perek Beis Shammai. There, we're going to learn in Kuf Tes, one of the brothers is married to a Ketana, and the sister falls to him liyibum. According to Rabbi Yeshua, we have to divorce both of them. And there we said, oilo al ishto, oilo al eshesachiv. We don't, but we don't agree with that. We hold, we hold ela ikra b'gamliel or Kabbalazar, which we'll see over there. They have methods of that you can at least marry one of them. Now, let's analyze Maimer a little bit. Like Elazar said, even according to Mei Shammai, Maimer doesn't acquire her completely. It's not a Kinyan Gomer. It's only the Iboy Lafuki Sagila Begita, meaning if you're a complete wife, all you'd have to do is give her a get. There would be no Zika remaining. Even Beis Shammai holds el Maimer Beis Shammai eino koina el lidchois betzor bulvad. It acquires enough, so with that Maimer, the second sister that falls, she's pushed aside and she doesn't need chalitza. It's considered it's a full enough wife that there's no yibum or chalitza for the sister that falls, but not enough that he can dissolve that marriage with just a get. It's only when you're koinas her with nesuin, with chuppah, with living with her, that she would become the full ishto, where a get alone would be a good. And Omra Vavina Fanana Mitanina, Beis Shammai Oimrim Yikaimu. In the earlier Mishnah of this parak, when we had two sisters falling to two brothers, and we said if the brothers they're supposed to give chalitza, but if they went ahead and married them, remember Beis Hillel said you have to divorce, but Beis Shammai says Yikaimu. Yikaimu means Bezdin is not koifin lagarish, does not force them to divorce, but he holds lechatchila low. Lechatchila, they should not get married to them because of the Isser Zikukasa, because of the problem of he has Zika with the two sisters. However, if you're going to tell me, we're now Chav Tes Amud Beis, if when a brother does Maimer, he acquires her completely, so there would be a way to solve that problem easy. Zeh Yasser Maimer v'yikneh. Each brother would do Maimer. Zeh Yasser Maimer v'yikneh. And since there's no Isser by Maimer, you're not living with them. And therefore you're not being koinis achos ukukoso. You're just makadosh them. Then there's no Zika to the other. Once you're makadosh one, the Zika goes away for the sister, and she can, at least one of them, each one would be able to live with the sister because the Maimer at least got rid of the Zika. So Maimer is not koine kinyan gomer. Elamai. So what are you telling me? That Maimer is doicha dikhiya gemura? That it's a complete removal of the sister? If that's the case, zeyasa Maimer v'yitcha, v'zeyasa Maimer v'yitcha. In the first Mishnah of our parak, where the two sisters fall to the two brothers, if the dechia works through Maimer, let's do the same thing over there. Only Maimer that you can carry out yibum with, where there's no Isser because of a relative, only Maimer de hetera dachi, the Isura loy dachi. Maimer where there's an Isser involved after, to be koinas her, will not be doicha. So Hachanami Maimer afilul mandomer Maimer koine kini gomer, it's only Maimer de hetera koni, the Isra loy koni. Even according to Mandomar, that holds Maimer's koine kini gomer, it's only a Maimer which could be followed up by Maimer yibum. But if there's some kind of prohibition after Maimer, the Maimer will not be koine. Now, Ravashi Masniachi. Ravashi learned differently that Amra Beloser, Lo Tema Maimer Lebe Shamai, Dochit Chigmura. Don't say that when one of the brothers does, when the wife, when Levi, the single brother, did Maimer, that it pushed away the sister when she fell completely. No, it's doicha and the sister has to get chalitza. And Amra Vavin Afanan Tanina. When you have two brothers where two sisters fell to them, they can't marry them. If they did marry them, Beis Shammai says you don't have to divorce. But l'chatchili kaimu in l'chatchila lo. But if Maimer pushes away completely, even with you don't need chalitza, so again we say, in the case where the two sisters fell to the two brothers, we don't say that. Our Mishnah says that Levi went ahead and gave Maimer to Reuven's wife after Reuven died. Then Shimon died, and Shimon's wife falls to Levi. We say that Ishto Imo, the lady that she gave Maimer to, that remains his wife. And the other one goes out because of Achosisha. The language of that is Masha. She doesn't need Chlitza either. That she just goes out free. Ella Yevama de Chazil Kula, Chazil Miksasa. A Yevama that falls. And you can do anything to her. Maimer, Yibum, that the first woman you could do whatever you wanted. Then that works even when you do a partial act like Maimer. That Maimer will have the power to push away a tzara even without anything, without chalitza. However, Yevam Deloy Chazi L'Kul. You have a lady that falls that you can't complete it, that Maimer Lo Chazi L'Miksos will not push away completely, will need chalitza. Okay. Boy Rabbi. Now comes another continued analysis of really what is Maimer. Maimer lebeis Shammai. Nisuin oisa or erusin oisa? Is it kiddushin or is it nisuin? What is it? Now, what nafkamin in halacha do we need to know? Now, when you're Makadesh a woman, when a man is Makadesh a woman and dies, listen, when a man is Makadesh a woman, that woman's his wife. She needs a get. If someone sleeps with her, she's an Eishes Ish, that person would be put to death. But it's not a full wife without Nesuin. Therefore, if a man gave Kiddushin and died, that woman would not inherit him. That woman would not go to the, if there's Kohanic funerals, you don't go to that funeral if the woman dies and she's a Kohen. And unless there's Nesuin, Ulafer Nedareha, only a husband that has Nesuin can be made for the vows. So you're asking me, Maimer creates what? Erisin or Nesuin? And the bias says to what halacha? Regarding Yerusha, going to a funeral, being made for? Hashta arusa ba'alma, regular kiddushin. Has nothing to do with yivbum. Just you give a woman kiddushin. Tani Rabchia ishto arusa loy oinein. Right? A Kohen doesn't go through aninis if his wife that he gave kiddushin only, there's no aninis. V'lo metam doesn't go to the funeral. V'chein hi lo onenis v'lo metame lo. Vice versa doesn't work if her husband dies. Meis, if she dies, eno yorsha, he does not inherit her. Meisu govak subasa. However, there is protection regarding ksuba. If he dies, she gets the ksuba, even only after kiddushin. So, ovid b'maimer meboy. So certainly Maimer would not create these things either. All these other rights that normally Kiddushin doesn't. It's not going to be better than Kiddushin. Ela le'inyan mesira lechuppah, meaning if the man lived with her against her will, without chuppah, normally by Yibum it's kona. And like just like you have to do chuppah for other women that you give kiddushin, you have to do it here as well. Maybe even without chuppah, just having bia with her will be koine to her. Do we say
not against your will though?
Even against her will? That's what we're at.
No, but that's by Yevama, but not by Stam.
We're talking now by. We're asking what's the power of mimer?
Okay.
It's not. We just rejected that it doesn't give her the right. It doesn't create going to the funeral and being made for Nedarim and being able to inherit. Because if regular Kiddushin to a regular woman without Yevamis, without Yibum involved doesn't do it, so certainly Mimer is not going to be able to do it. So the Shaila is what? What does it do? Does it accomplish that perhaps you don't need Mesira L'chuppah? And even if he had relations with her against her will, it'll be koiner, even without chuppah? And therefore, nesuin ois of loy boy Mesira L'chuppah? Does Mimer create nesuin? Oh, dilmei rusin ois of boy Mesira L'chuppah. And if he just rapes her against her will, she's not koiner. He's not koiner her. That's the shaila. Omer lei hashta loy ovid b'Mimer. The Gemara answers very simply. If he didn't do Mimer and he raped her, ksiv yavama yavo aleh bal karcha, and it becomes his wife even without her will, which is different than regular marriage. That's how Yibum works. So ovid b'Mimer meboy, then certainly Bia will work even against her will when you did Mimer. If it works without Mimer, it's certainly going to work with Mimer. So that's not the nafkamina halacha either. So what does Mimer accomplish? So Omer lei, shani oimer, kol oisa Mimer biyavim to parchu mimena zika yavamim. Once a brother does Mimer, he's not a yavim anymore. There's no dinim of yibum. There's just the connection of having kiddushin with a woman. V'chala lezika serusin, only my. So what's the din? Toshma. Shomeres yavim. You have a woman who's fallen to a brother, but nothing is done to her. Ben yavim echad, ben shnei yavamim. Whether there's one brother, whether there's two brothers. What about mefer nedarim? So here, no action has happened. There's just zika here. No mimer, no nothing. A woman, Reuven dies, the wife falls, and there's Shimon, or there's Shimon and Levi, either one brother or two brothers. But nothing's happened yet. They're waiting. Shomeres Yavim. She's in limbo. She's waiting for something to be done to her. So who is made for her nedarim? Rabbi Yezer Omer Yofer. Rabbi Yezer says that the brother can be made for her nedarim, just like her husband was. And L'chora, Rabbi Eliezer makes no distinction whether there was one brother or two brothers. Rabbi Yeshua Omer le'echad v'lo l'shnai. Rabbi Yeshua says when there's one brother, the zika is strong, and that brother can be mefer. But if there were two brothers, no. Rabbi Kiva says absolutely not for neither. Lo le'echad v'lo l'shnai. The halach is like Rabbi Kiva, that it doesn't make, these brothers can never, whether it's one brother or 50 brothers, they can't be mefer. Let's go back to the Gemara. Vavinimba. Bishlam Rabbi Kiva Savar ain't Zika Fidul Lachat. Rabbi Kiva holds there's no Zika even when there's only one brother. We understand Rabbi Yeshua Lachad Yesh Zika L'Trein Zika. That's why he allows Haforas Nadorim if there's one brother, but not if there's two. Ella Rabbi Eliezer. I mean, what does Rabbi Eliezer hold? Ni Nami Diksaver Yesh Zika Bishop Lachad Mefer. I understand that he holds of Zika, and therefore I understand good that if there's one brother who's Mefer, Ella L'Trei Amai. But how could the Zika be strong enough to allow either brother to be Mefer? So on Rav Ami, the Gemara says, you don't understand. One of the brothers did Maimer, Ube Shamahi. The Amar Maimer Koine Kinyan Gomer. And that brother could maybe Mefer, according to Rabbi Lozer. Now we get to our proof. If the Maimer, what does it accomplish? Kiddushin or Nisuin? If we say fine and good, it accomplishes Nisuin. That normally is what you need for a husband to be made for Nedorim, Mishamachi Mefer. But if Maimer only creates the status of Kiddushin, Heichemotzi Mefer, Kiddushin doesn't give a husband the right to be made for Nedorim, Vatnan. Nara Ha'ma'irasa. A Nara is a girl between 12 and 12 and a half. And there's Eresin given to her. But because of her age, there's a partnership. Avi ubayla mafirim nedoreha. Her husband can't do it by herself. Her father can't do it by herself. They have to do it in a partnership. So that's even with full kiddushin. So the Gemara has a proof now that Maimer creates Nesuin. On Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, my Mefer b'shutafut. In a Chanami, says Rav Nachman, there's no raya because when it says Mefer, it means the hafara is done in combination with the father, according to Rabbi Lozer. Ula Rabbi Lozer Domer, Maimer l'beishama eina koine el litchos l'tzar bilvad. There were two understandings of Beis Shammai. One was that it's koine kinyan gomer. And then we asked, is it Kiddushin and Nisuin? We don't know yet. And according to Rabbi Lozer, that it's not koine kinyan gomer, it's only to push away, let's say if a sister falls, then on my Mefer should be no hafar at all. It doesn't have that power. What will Rabbi Lozer say? I'm looking at Rabbi Lozer. Emer da amri anoina koine el chos l'tzar bilvad, the lo sagila bigita, el boinam inchlitza. When I said that the Maimer is coined to be doicha the tzara, that's to say, it means that if to get rid of the wife that one brother gave Maimer to, it's not enough to just give her a get. You gotta give her a chlitz as well because you gotta get rid of the zika. But I never said that the Maimer would give him power to be made for Nador. That's one way the Gemara gets out of it, that there's no proof. If you want to give you another answer, even according to Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, where he said that they do it in partnership, Miktani Yaferu doesn't say that they should be made for together, Yafer Ktani, which implies only one is required, either the husband or the father. So it's more complicated, says the Gemara. We're going to learn that Reuven dies. Reuven's wife falls to Shimon. Shimon dilly-dallies. Here's a woman. She's tied, she's chained to Shimon. She's got a zika to Shimon. She's got 5 men that want to marry her. She can't marry them because she's connected to Shimon. So she's waiting for Shimon either to be miyabim her or give her chlitza. But Shimon takes his time. A year goes by. Bezdin comes and forces Shimon to pay for the mizonos for this woman. Or, get your act together. Either give her chlitza or do yibu, make her your wife, or it doesn't make a difference. You have to pay for her. Then, such a husband, where Bezdin was poisek, mizonos, then he can be made for Nedorim. Rav Pinchas Bnei Rav. Don't Rav Pinchas Bnei Rav. Kol hanideres al das bailei noideres. Whenever a woman makes a vow, she's thinking about her husband who's providing for her. So the Gemara has no answer. Whether does it make kiddushin? Does it make nisuin?
What about truma? The same thing with truma? Can she?
Same thing with truma. Well, that's going to be a different question.
Uh,
It follows these dinim. It's only
Eshkoach.
nisuin, not like we'll see.
Yeah.
We're going to ask that question and we'll learn it. I'm not going to.
Eshkoach. So you were so masber, so good tonight. Oh my goodness.
We tried.
Wow, so good. Such masber. Wow, it follows such a pattern. It just goes one after the other. So
We just
beautiful.
tried. These Gemara build on each other.
Step by step. Yeah.
Step by step. How we have to do it.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Beautiful.
By the way, I got volume 11. They shipped me 15 volume 11. So I don't know what I don't know. So let me get the details on that because I didn't even order it, and they shipped it to me. So I'll find out from them. So
I bought it at Amazon.
Volume 11 is this big.
I bought it at Amazon.
Okay, but I may have a copy for you. Okay.
Okay, I want to buy two. I'll say one for me.
Oh, those are for free when you give them out?
I don't. Well, I get volume 10. I got for free. The other ones we bought. Remember, the other ones I used to buy for like $15 or $17. So let me find out.
What does volume 11 cover?
Shmona Esrei.
Oh, wow.
All
Okay.
the dinim of shots, tefillah.
Uh-huh.
It's this thick, the thickest one since.
Wow.
I don't understand. They told us 25 volumes.
Oh boy.
Well, but I don't think it's going to think about it. Here, they're not even in volume 12. They're not even half done then. We still haven't done Dinei Shabbos. Remember, what's an Orach Chaim? We're going through like the first Chelik of Mishnah Berurah. Then you have first two Chalakim. Then you have Chelik Gimel, Dalid, which is Hilchas Shmira Shabbos in Orach Chaim. And then all the Dinim of Yontif. And then you have to get through all of Choshen Mishma, all of Even Ezra. I don't understand how they're going to do it. It seems to me like they're going to have to have more than 25 volumes. But that's what I was told.
You have to build another library for that of shelves.
Yeah, that's okay.
God willing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
tomorrow 7:30.
Yeah.
Tomorrow 7:30.
Shkoyach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.